You're watching Pivot Roundup on Pivot Report. This is Sulaiman Malik. When this conflict between Iran and the US started, Iran retaliated by attacking the US bases in the Gulf countries, especially targeting Kuwait and Bahrain. These two important bases are completely dismantled, and the US had to move its assets to Jordan. Iran also attacked precise locations of the US in Jordan. Similarly, what started with Iran blocking the Strait of Hormuz then led to Ansarullah announcing a blockade against Saudi Arabia on its port of Jumbo, and the 5 million barrels a day that were exported from there, that was also stopped. But this didn't stop there. Iran also attacked the eastern port of Egypt, signaling that it can also disrupt the traffic in the Mediterranean Sea. You've heard Professor Dr. Pape from Chicago before. He was talking about the escalation track. Now he's also talking about the security arc of Iran in the maritime waters, not just in the Strait of Hormuz, but also Bab al-Mandab and the Mediterranean Sea. Let's listen to this report.
That's a power reason that's being ignored here, which is you want Hezbollah to have drones right here in Lebanon. So if there's a pipeline that comes out here through Syria, if you've got some other pipelines that are coming out here, you've got Hezbollah here that can act as your Houthis. They can actually attack the shipping. So now you have you're Iran. You're a major power. You're the dominant power in the region. You don't just control this area here and
the Strait of
Hormuz and Iran itself. You have an arc, a security arc here that is a sphere of influence, but it's an operational sphere of influence. This is not just a piece of paper or something to talk about. This is what's guaranteeing you control all of that oil, whether the oil from the Persian Gulf comes out through Hormuz, whether it comes out through Syria, or whether it comes out through the Red Sea.
Since the U.S. was unable to defend itself or its Gulf allies, the Gulf countries were quick to realize that they need to diversify their security, which is why the Mecca agreement was signed earlier this month in Mecca between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. Over the last couple of weeks, a couple of other countries have shown keen interest in joining the pact, including Syria and Bangladesh. This is a defensive pact by definition. It's a form of a collective security, or you can call it collective deterrence. On the other hand, since the US has run out of military options, they are now exploring economic sanctions again. They've had sanctions on Iran for about 50 years now, but it didn't help before. Let's listen to the Treasury Secretary while he announces the D-Day economic sanctions on Iran.
Today, at President Trump's direction, the United States Treasury has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers. In the Second World War, D-Day marked the historic beginning of a campaign with our allies to target and drive the enemy from its positions, including those in third countries. Today, in that same spirit, we are launching an economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe.
Yeah, you heard that right. The economic sanctions are being called Operation Economic Outcast. When the war started, the kinetic action was called Operation Epic Feud. These are very bombastic sounding names. Sometimes one feels that there's a lot of similarity between Hollywood and American politics. The reality behind the scenes is very different. The Pakistani Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir was in Tehran on Monday, and apparently he took a message of peace from President Trump to the Iranians. And the Iranians responded positively. They said that the terms agreed in the MOU can be discussed, and they're willing to negotiate peace based on those agreed terms. Another important aspect of Asim Munir's visit to Tehran was that Pakistani media has reported that Pakistan has invited Iran to join the Mecca agreement. Since the US is leaving the region, it is up to the Iranians and the Gulf countries, and of course, Pakistanis and Turks will help them reach agreement and a form of a joint security. This may take time, especially because Saudi and Iranian relations are fragile. But over time, one can hope that this agreement can be reached. You're watching Pivot Roundup on Pivot Report. This is Sulaiman Malik.